Chris, you're chair of the IOSH Thames Valley branch, and this is the third year that you've been involved in the NFTS with the Health and Safety Award. How did you get involved with the school?
From two perspectives. Firstly, prior to my joining IOSH, which goes back about 8 years, there'd always been an educational award as part of our involvement with the community, and initially that had been run via schools in Berkshire and Buckinghamshire, and that basically just ran its natural life, and the schools seemed no longer interested, and we were looking at something new and different. And at the same time, as part of my working life, I'd met Zlata in the National Film and TV School, and at that stage I said to Zlata, if I wear a different hat, an IOSH hat, I'm sure that we could sort of become further involved and assist one another. And we agreed to sort of pursue things from there, and that was about 5 years ago. So it wasn't until 3 years ago that we actually made the first award for the best student risk assessment for fiction films, final year fiction students. So we've now done it for the third occasion.
How do you actually judge all the films that come in?
Well, that's the tricky bit, and we find that quite difficult, actually. We always have a team of 4 or 5 committee members, typically, that do it. We have a look at the scripts, we have a look at their risk assessments, and then we interview the students as well. But essentially we're looking for evidence that we're trying to find the film where safety has been managed most effectively. So we're looking for a link between the paperwork and then effectively on-site management or on-set management. And we do that largely by interview and having a look at call sheets and other sort of sources of documentation as well.
So what was it about Solstice in particular that was the winner this year for you?
2 things, I think. Most importantly, Justin told us that as part of her recce, she went to a fish factory but just decided it was too dangerous. So they recreated their own fish factory in an old ice house. So it was that they changed literally their shooting procedure for safety reasons. So that happened very, very early in their design process. And the other thing was just as far as the crowd scene at the Solstice, there was an awful lot of electricity, which was very close to water as well. So that had to be very well managed, and there was some. It was the way in which they managed those issues as well, which sort of impressed us the most. Added to which, it was a very large crew which had to be managed in about as far away from the National Film and TV School as you could get. So that logistically, there were a lot of issues they had to deal with, all of which were impacted upon health and safety.
What was your opinion of the film when you watched it? Were you able to watch it from just, oh, that's a really good piece of fiction, or were you kind of looking, oh, I wonder how they managed that risk, or did they think about that? And
no, I think for all the films, it's just very interesting to see them as a piece of fiction and see the finished work, because you cannot envisage the end result as it is from the paperwork that we're essentially given in the interviews we have. So you're seeing the work from a completely different perspective when you see it on the screen. You have to sort of think back and look at things in a completely different light to the way in which we judge, rightly or wrongly. That's the limitations of the way we operate at this point in time anyway.
From an IOSH point of view, what do you think Thames Valley as a branch gets out of being involved with the NFTS? Because obviously you must put a lot of time into the process and things like that.
Well, as part of our constitution, branch constitution, we're obliged to have an involvement with the greater community. And I think this is a very effective way in which we can do that. It's somewhere where our interest is actually appreciated. Hopefully we will then impact upon the winner's working life, and it's a skill that they will take with them for the rest of their working life. So we then have sort of an ability to influence the film and TV industry in this country, if not Europe, which we otherwise wouldn't have. So it's our ability to sort of have some influence into the wider professional community, I think, which is key to us.